and welcome to the Football Preview Show here on GameTimePA-TV. I'm your host, John Buffone, and throughout this episode we'll be checking in with all of our GameTime PA reporters to break down the most interesting matchups in their area. Let's start right here in Lancaster, where the premier matchup of the week is Solanco at Cocalico. This game has all the makings of a track meet, with both teams sporting a run-heavy veer offense. Cocalico dropped a rough 21-15 decision to rival Mannheim Central last week and are on the outside looking into the District 3 playoffs. However, a win over the undefeated Gold Mules would go a long way in helping their cause. Meanwhile, Solanco is trying to get at least a share of the Section 2 title with a win this Friday. That's what's going on here. Let's see what's going on in the rest of South Central PA.
I'm Zach Miller from the Evening Sun in Hanover, and our game of the week is Hanover at Biglerville. There's a lot on the line in Division 3 in this one, where the Nighthawks, who only won 4 games the past 4 years combined, but are 8-0 this season, they can clinch the Division 3 title with a win in Canner Country. But the Canners are still in the mix too. If Biglerville wins this game, then it's that team that's back in the driver's seat in Division 3 with a big game against Bermudian Springs coming up next week. We'll see who comes out on top in Division 3 this weekend.
Hi, this is Lindsay with GameTimePA Franklin-Fulton, and we're getting ready for another rivalry game here in Fulton County as Waynesboro gets ready to take on Greencastle at home on Friday. Last year, Waynesboro beat Greencastle for the first time since 1993, and with both teams virtually out of playoff contention, this week's game is just going to be bloodless between these two rivals. The Blue Devils this season have struggled on pass defense, which was apparent in their loss to Northern York last week. If the Blue Devils are going to stop Brady Rydell and Waynesboro's offense, they're going to need to tighten up their pass defense. Rydell does have over 1,200 yards this season passing, but he only has a 36% completion rate. He does have 20 interceptions on the season, but he also averages about 20 yards per completion. So he's got a really strong arm, he just doesn't have the accuracy to get it into the arms of his own teammates. So if the Blue Devils can tighten up their pass defense and capitalize on the expected turnovers that Rydell and the Waynesboro offense are going to make, I think they can pull out a win on this one.
This is Brandon Stoneberg in the York Adams area. Our game of the week is definitely West York and Dover. These two teams are just classic backyard rivals. They can't stand each other, really. I mean, every time they get together, it's definitely a physical game. And they play this week with some division implications on the line. West York is at 3-1 or 4-1 in the division, and Dover's right there with them. They're trying to keep pace with York Suburban. Both teams need York Suburban to lose to try and claim a division title. But both teams are right there. I mean, West York is really, you could make the argument that they were only a missed field goal away from being in first place, and Dover, they're kind of playing shorthanded after they lost some kids to some extracurricular activities after homecoming. But last week they put up some big passing numbers, which is rare for Dover. They threw for 300 yards. So maybe we got a new look Dover Eagles playing their classic rival West York. Should be a good battle Friday night. We'll see you then.
Week 9 out here in Lebanon brings about 2 of the biggest games of the season, and as we have started so often this year, we begin with Northern Lebanon. The Vikings continue to roll on in Section 3 play. We'll head down to Donegal this weekend for the 2nd straight year with a section title on the line. The Vikings most recently rolling over rival Ambler-Cleona 58-36 behind Isaac Wingert, who has been the best player in the section the last couple of weeks. Elsewhere, Palmyra will look to bounce back from a 2-game losing streak with a home game against Milton Hershey. The Cougars have to get on a roll soon as they've started to slip in the District 3 power rankings. That'll do it out here in Lebanon. Back to John in Lancaster.
Well, that about does it for this week's edition of GameTimePA-TV. Thank you for tuning in. For updates on all your favorite games, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And as always, enjoy the games this weekend.
Very good.